Hello, hello, hello. Good morning sa inyong lahat. Welcome to my live update on stock market. This is Ronnie Cayosa sa aking Facebook page na Trading Risk Management. Today is May 25, 2021. This is the Tuesday today. Lapit na naman matapos yung araw ng May. June na naman. Makarecover na yung ating market next month, pero yung ating market ngayon is naka-hold pa rin. Tingnan natin mamaya kung paano saan pupunta ang price niya. Okay? Pati yung sentiment ng ating market. So welcome sa mga nanonood dito na mga bago at yung mga interesado matuto na pag-trade at pag-invest. Welcome to my live update. So I hope na parati kayong makikinig o sumubaybay. At hindi naman ako I'm not a financial advisor, pero sinishare ko lang po yung aking journey sa pag-trade, ang pag-invest sa stock market. Philippine setting muna tayo para at least matutunan muna natin dito at makapag-invest tayo dito sa ating Philippine Stock Exchange. Kasi pagka tumataas yung price na yan, magaganda yung ating news, definitely maraming mag-i-invest dito. Not only foreigner but also local, mga investors. Right? So, share ko lang yung aking screen. Yan. I'm using COL or Confidential for my trading sa may trading platform. So right now, 9:28 time check. We are na pre-open. Start nung pre-open natin is 9 o'clock. So sa mga gustong mag-participate sa market, you can start at 9 a.m. Ibig sabihin, pwede na kayo mag-place ng inyong position or kaya mag-buy or mag-sell na kayo kung meron kayong position dyan sa market or shares. At ang pagkakaiba nga lang nun, hindi nyo siya makakancel during that time na nasa pre-open. Pagka start na market at 9:30, dun nyo lang siya makakancel kung gusto nyo lang baguhin yung inyong position or yung inyong price. Okay, so wala pa, sa server error pa siya, pero start na in just wala. Yan, ganyan pag-open. Simple lang pag-open ng COL actually, Hindi mo na kailangan ng OTP. Sa iba kasi kailangan ng OTP para ma-open mo. Like for example, yung BDO Nomura. Yan. Pag nag-open ako ng BDO Nomura, as security, meron silang second, parang password, yung OTP number na manggagaling sa inyong cellphone. Okay. So yan na, mag-open na yung ating market right now. So, refresh lang natin. Pag hindi nyo pa makita, refresh nyo lang para makita nyo na yung mga nanditong active gainers and losers. Okay, tapos lagyan na rin natin ating ticker. So, medyo mabilis-bilis ng galawan yan. And, tingnan natin agad kung sino yung mga mabibilis, mga gainers and losers natin. Hintay lang tayo mga around 5 to 10 minutes para at least pumasok na yung mga trade nila, yung ibang mga nagtitrade. Bagong-bago pa lang naman i-start. Alright, so open na rin natin yung ating BDO security para makita nyo rin paano mag-open. Yung sabi ko kanina. So meron kayong BDO security. Okay, all you have to do is just mag-open. Yan lang. Ayan, ito naman pag-open ng BDO security, ng broker or trading platform. Siyempre, kung meron ka ng account, I have an account. Kung wala namang create an account, bago ka mag-create ng account, make sure na meron ka ng BDO online. It's either na saving account or checking account, pero i-apply mo yon, i-register mo sa BDO online banking. And then pag na-register mo na siya, pwede ka na mag-apply for BDO Securities. Ito yung trading platform ng BDO. So pag nakapag-create ka na, okay, pwede ka naman mag-start kahit wala ka pang nilalagay na buying power o kaya puhunan or investment. Ano? Kasi ita-transfer mo lang yung ano mo, yung puhunan mo, or kung kunyari magpa-participate ka na, bibili ka na sa market, transfer mo na yung nandoon sa video online mo dito sa Nomura. So, yun lang. Mag-create ng account. No? Hindi na masyadong mahirap dahil meron ka ng online banking. Kailangan mo lang siyang i-open. Ayan. So, may mga step-step yan paano mag-open. Ituturo naman yan. No? Kaya mag-alala. So, parang ganito lang. Simula. Kanina nakita niya, di ba, mabilis mag-open ng COL. Ngayon, nakasave na kasi sa akin yung COL ko. Pati ito, nakasave na rin yung user ID and password. And then, log in na lang. And then, yung sinasabi kong OTP. Okay, submit ka lang ng OTP. Yun lang, sandali Mandoon yung cellphone ko, charge ko po pala. Okay, mamaya na tayo niyan kasi medyo mabilis lang yung OTP niyan eh. So, mamaya ko na yung open. Doon pa pala yung cellphone ko. Doon kasi makikita nyo yung OTP, 6 digit na number. Yun ang ilalagay nyo doon and then pwede na kayo mag-open ng iyong trading platform. Okay. So, back na lang tayo rito sa COL. Ito namang ginagamit natin. Okay, right now, time check is 9:30. No? Sakto lang na 9:30. Pero dito 9:33 na. Medyo delayed yung aking time dito sa aking computer. Adjust ko nga para eksakto lang, sigurado lang. Okay, so yan ang kanyang movement. Tingnan natin dito sa latest research nila. Actually, wala pang bago, no? Ito pa lang bago na Tech Spotlight. Okay, so as I always sabi ko nga na pagka nag-start kayo, lalo sa umaga, or pagka nag-trade kayo sa umaga, kasi mas maganda sa umaga mag-trade kayo sa hapon, no? Actually, 1 o'clock ang close, so hindi na kayo makapag-trade pagka umabot pa kayo sa hapon. Minsan nagbubusan na, no? Kaya nagbebentahan ng mga ng mga position nila. Or pwede naman kung alam niyo tumingin ng technical analysis, makita niyo doon na merong buying signal, pwede niyo naman gawin na mag-buy kayo sa hapon. Depende sa availability niyo. Kaya lang make sure na hindi kayo biglang papasok sa market, hindi niyo alam kung anong gagawin. Okay? So, let's move on sa ating tech spotlight, no? May 25, latest. Okay, sabi dito, PSE proceeds to sink oversold level near. The Philippine Index 6165 started the week on feeble note after slipping by 34 points or negative 0.55%. Reaction from SMPH, Ali, TEL, SM, and URC tug on its tail and keep the mood dreary. Daily turnover remained weak at 40.2 billion, showing 127 decliners versus 70 advancers and bruised by net foreign selling of 667 million. Given the ongoing retreat, we still see the index wedge into a reactive channel whose resistance stands closer to 6.3, while support now is now closer to 6.0550 and possibly 6,000. Sinasabi ko kahapon, no? Na next support na yun na pupuntahan yung 6,000. However, the index decline has pushes the PSE to an RSI of 32%, and that means now borders the edge of being oversold. Okay, an oversold market with RSI of 30% or less may generate some rally action to fix such overstressed declines. But unless oversold rallies can punch over downtrend lines or show reversal signals such as divergences, resistance, pattern breaks, or capitulating sells off rallies from which could be temporary or fleeting. Ito yung mga indicators, no? Kung matutunan siyang basahin, doon mo makikita kung ang stocks is oversold and overbought, no? So, yan. Ito additional information to, no? Pero dito ko na sasabihin kasi iba minsan kailangan mo magbayad para matutunan to. Although, kailangan mo rin talaga matutunan to ng maayos para at least hindi yung nanghula ka lang. Ayan sinasabi kanina, no, ng COL, ng level niya nandito na sa oversold level. Pag nandito sa baba yan, ang tawag din is oversold. Pag nasa taas naman, overbought. No, may linya yan, 80 and 20. Okay, make sure na alam mo paano tignan o basahin ang price action. Ito yung price action yan. So, nandito na siya pababa, di ba? Meaning na oversold na siya pag umabot siya rito sa level na to. Kaya, possible o potentially na umabot siya sa sa 6,100% or 6,000 level. No? Kanina sinasabi na support. So, pag bumaba pa siya, like for example dito, most probably, ito na yung abutin niyang support level, yung 6,108. Okay, until umabot siya rito sa 6,000 level. So ito yung ating chart, no? Tapos yung meron tayong nilagay rito na tools na pang line. Okay. So dito pwede yung usog-usugin yan, no? Kung saan. So dito medyo malayo-layo pa naman 6,100 level, pero pwede mo nang ilagay yung i-plot na ganyan kasi yun naman yung sentiment niya, no? Parang pa-downtrend pa lang. What's the good news about this, no? Unang-una, siyempre pababa yung price sa mga investor o kaya mahiling maghanap ng mababang presyo, yung dip na tinatawag. It's may buying signal na yan dito pag umabot ng 6,000 level, and then oversold na yan eh. Pag nag-oversold na siya, ibig sabihin may stress na yan, pwede nang umakyat yan, no? Pero depende pa rin sa takbo ng market. Like for example dito, 'di ba? From here, 'di ba? Ang layo ng binagsakan niya. And then umabot siya rito sa level na to nung March to. Okay. And then tsaka naman siya umakyat ulit. Nag-bounce back siya ulit agad on after 1 month, So ulit, and then nag-bounce back na naman. So ganun lang yung yung takbo ng kanyang indicator na RSI kung kayo ay marunong gumamit. Dito naman sa MACD na ginagamit din natin, mapapansin mo, dito lang sa ilalim yung line na to, yung 9N 26. Okay. Hindi natin yung input niya. Ayan. 12 and 26 ng niya. And then yung histogram naman niya, makita niya naman yung kulay. Lagyan natin ng color yung histogram para hindi masyadong lagyan natin ng color yellow naman. Ayan, para medyo nakikita. So mas maganda yung nakikita niyo kung nasaan yung kung nasa baba o nasa taas. Siyempre pag nasa taas, bakit yung price niyan? Pag nasa baba naman, baba yung price niya. Tulad niya, nakita mo sinusundan lang niya yung baba. Tapos makita mo ritong line na to, pag nag-crossover na yan, yung kulay, yun natin yung blue. Yun natin siya, yung MACD niya, yun natin green. Normal naman yung green eh. Okay. So pagka nasa taas na yung MACD line niya, okay, yung kulay green, meaning packet na yung price niya. So, pwede nyo itong pagbasihan din, no? It's only a confirmation, hindi ito yung, minsan nagbabago rin, no? Hindi rin, depende yan sa, may mga news na nakakapagpabago ng price. Okay? So, basihan lang yan to confirm na pababa yung price niya o packet yung price niya. Pero, kailangan alamin nyo paano gamitin. May mga YouTube o books na pwede nyong aralin para at least maintindihan nyo to on the long run. Okay, so yan yung ating PSEI, no? Yung kanyang tech spotlight. So ito naman yung sa ibang bansa, no? Hindi lang sa Philippines. Ayan, katulad yan. Sabi yung change niya, okay, red, sentiment niya red. And then ito rin yung ito naman si SP500, ito nakaka-rebound na siya, nakaka-akit na yung SP500 sa Nasdaq sa US. So, Hong Kong, red din, no? Actually, tayo lang, no? Sa Asia, medyo, baba yung price niya. Okay. So, most active stock by value, BDO, MEG, Pure Gold, GFCD, Tutel, AC, Ali, MBT, and Converge. Ito yung mga stocks, tataas yung value. And most active stock by value. So, makita nyo rin yung mga chart ng iba-ibang market, no? Exchange. Hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas. Ito yung mga chart naman ng dito ang stocks sa Pilipinas. No? Yung Globe, AP o RBTs, MPI, yung kanina, TEL, PGA, FGen, and SMPH. So mostly downtrend, no? Until lang medyo umaakit yung price niya. But some of them are all downtrend. Okay. So, check ulit tayo ng iba pang latest research. Nalabas na. Daily notes. Yan. Gusto kong daily notes eh. Daily notes. Today is Tuesday. Yan. Update siya ngayon. Updated. Top stories. Mega wide recovery momentum halted as first quarter 21 profit declined to 3 million. So, MWC, MPI, House panel approved MWC and Manila franchise, Manila Water Corporation. Okay. Other news, SECB or Security Bank injects additional 750 million in leasing financing unit. Economy, Philippines is a laggard in Asia. Laggard daw tayo in Pilipinas. Okay. So, liit. Tingnan natin, medyo malaki yan. Palakihin yan eh. Mega-wide recovery momentum halted on first quarter 21 profits declined to 3 million. Earning fall by 98.6% to 3 million. Mega-wide first quarter net income fell to 3 million down to 98.6% year-to-year from 201 million book on first quarter 20. Below consensus fiscal year 21 estimate of 147 million. Note that is also significantly lower than 230 million profit book during fourth quarter of 2020. This may attribute to lower revenues generated in its construction and land port segment and higher direct costs booked during the period. Consolidated first quarter 20 revenues declined by 24.9% and year-to-year to 3.7 billion from 4.9 billion in the same period last year. On a sequential basis, this is down 4.3%. Quarter-to-quarter construction and land port revenue declined while the airport segment remained weak. During the period of Megawide also booked higher direct costs in its construction segment, bringing first quarter 21 gross profit margin 16.9 lower than the 19.7 margin recorded in fourth quarter 2020. So ito yung kanyang computation ng income this quarter. Okay, so yung mga may Megawide dyan, check nyo yung inyong fundamental. Okay, tignan na rin natin yung M-wide, no? Kung meron tayong narito eh. M-wide load chart. M-wide. Okay, so wala pa tayong M-wide. M-wide. Mega-wide. Tingnan natin kanyang fundamental at ang kanyang ito, yung technical. Diba? So nakita nyo, paunti-unti, nakakapag-record ka. Ako na lang kasi ako gumagawa. Nakakapag-record ako ng iba-ibang mga technical analysis, no? And then, fundamental naman, madali namang hanapin sa PSE Edge mamaya. Kasi, dati hindi ko ginagawa, no? Yung bang, kunyari, tingnan ko lang siya, and then after nun, magpa-plot ako, and then after nun, mawawala na yung plot pag hindi nakasave. Okay, totoo lang, kasi kailangan i-save mo muna siya. So, katulad niya, nakasave na siya. Kanina, tinignan ko muna kung meron siyang record. Ngayon, wala namang siyang record. So, ngayon siya, isi-save ko ngayon. Bakit? Isang, din to, malaking, okay na company rin to, no? Kung pagpipilian mo. In terms of fundamental and technical, marami siyang mga, project. No? Meron nga lang siyang project na hindi nag-push through at yung this year din ata yan, yung sa airport. Anyway, may mga significant yan eh, no? Kung bakit hindi nakukuha or hindi nagpo-push yung mga project. So, plot natin ng Megawide. Actually, ito yung isa naging paboritong i-trade ng anak ko eh. No? Yung panganay kong anak, nag-trade din yan eh, ng stock market. So sabi niya, Daddy, maganda yung Megawide. Check mo. Okay, so hindi lang ako naging Hindi lang ako nag-ano rito, nag-invest during the time na kasi hindi ko pa makita yung ano niya eh. Tulad niyan, 'di ba? Nasa ilalim pa siya lahat, oh. Pati yung kanyang mga EMA nasa taas. So nasa baba yung price action. Pagka ganyan, pababa pa yan actually. Magandang bumili dahil mababa pa siya. Kasi umabot pa ng how much yung price niya, oh, 10 pesos. Pero ang pinakamataas niyang price as of naman nagsimula to 2011 to, di ba? Is nung April 18, 2018. So, umabot siya ng 24 pesos. So, ayan potential na abutin niya pag naka-recover or yung kanyang fair value na pwedeng puntahan. Okay. So, sana yung ating plot? Plot natin siya at the price kasi nandun na siya sa support, no? Titingnan natin support level na yan eh. So, pag nasa support level na yan, meaning potentially, no, nabubutas siya at bumaba pa yung price niya at abutin niya. Ano ba yung sunod na support niya? So, this support, yan natin. Dito na tayo mag-plot sa support na to. Yan, diba? Kita mo, halos pantay na yung tinatamaan ng week, ng kanyang 587. So, pagka bumaba na yan, ayan na pwede niyang puntahan. And then, ano pa yung susunod niya support? I'm not sure, abutin niya pa yung pinaka-lowest price niya during the time na, no. Ito kasi nung time ng pandemic, bumaba siya rito. Last year, di ba? Nang hit niya yan, tapos umakyat sandali, and then bumaba na ng husto at hinit niya yung price, no, na much lower dun sa time ng nag-lockdown dito sa atin sa Pilipinas. So, para ito na yung pinaka bottom niya during that time. Last year. So, tingnan natin kung aabutin pa niya yung pinaka-bottom. Pero dito, may mas mababa pang presyo for yung nag-start siya ng 2011. Okay. So, minsan may umaabot din sa kung ano yung price niya o opening price niya, IPO niya. Pwedeng mangyari yan. Okay. Kasi nga, hinahanap niya yung pinaka price niya or nagko-correct na yung price niya depending dun sa kanyang fair value sa PE ratio. So, tingnan natin yung mega-wide PE ratio. MY. Mali. Okay. So, yan ang PE ratio, negative 13.98. Pansin nyo, so tama, mababa masyado, di ba? Check din natin yung dami rin foreign seller sa kanya. Oh. Ito yung mga na-apektuhan ng mga minsan ng company kaya bumaba yung price na marami nagbebenta and bearish pa rin sentiment pa rin siya or pababa pa rin yung price. Tingnan natin kung bumaba pa siya ng gusto at pwede tayo mag-participate. No? Kasi kung kukuha ka ng price niya na at the price of sabi natin 4.44 and then times mo sa 1,000 shares 4,440 lang yan, no? Pero kung gagawin mo siyang 10,000 shares, that is around 40,400 times mo lang naman sa yan. So okay, not bad. Pwede ka tignan nyo lang, no? Hindi ko sinabing bilhin nyo, aralin nyo muna paano bumili ng stocks. So yan kasi mga magandang stocks din yan, no? So tingnan natin yung kanyang wide. Yan. So mega wide. Okay, matagal na rin to, 2004. And then directors and management, you have to check yung ownership, no? Edgar Saavedra. Okay naman mga Saavedra. Marami ring business yan mga Saavedra. And dito rin pa si Hilary Davide. Ito construction company to. Diba kanina nakita naman natin construction company sector niya o industrial yan. And then financial report yung kanina yung pinakita doon sa COL, yan din yan. Makita niyo balance sheet quarterly. Okay. And then especially yung kanyang tingnan muna tayo sa disclosure. Yan May 25 press release yan, mga press releases nila. No, kaya buwabagsak, umaakit yung price, tapos mga news din na pinapalabas ng company. Okay, so mega-wide shareholder approved increase in capital. Sana nautang ba sila or sa nila kinuha yung kanilang capital? And then the dividends and rights. Ayan. So, yung maganda naman dividend niya, 1.75. Yung last niya ng March 13. Okay. Ay, no, May 13. April 29, meron din. Okay, nagbigay din siya. And February 3 and January 20. Oh, nagbigay siya ng January 29 to May 13. So, magkano yun? 1 point, naretare niya. Okay, 1.18, 1.18. 1.18 plus 1.43, 1.43. Piso lang po yan, meaning piso at 43 centavos plus 1.75 plus 1.18. Ano natin, laki, no? Pero, kung malaki yung yung iyong shares, no? At 1 point, malaki yan, 75. So just imagine meron kang 8.72 pesos. So times sa 10,000, sabihin natin, bumili ka ng 10,000. Additional income yan, no? 87,200. Additional income for your portfolio. So, side na, kasi kung bumaba na yung kanilang bumaba yung kanilang price kasi pagka nagbababa yung price yan, umakit naman yung, nagbibigay naman sila ng dividendo. Parang bumabawi lang, no? Pero ganun talaga ganun talaga yung magiging price action niya. Kaya makita nyo rito yung mega wide, yan, umakit yung price niya rito, and then, ayan, during the time na nagkaroon ng bigayan ng dividend, mababa na yung price niya for ilang days din yan. Okay. So, MegaWide is a good company. So, yun. Tignan nyo kung gusto niyo lang mag-participate o bumili ng stocks na to. So, go for the lower price, diba? Or yung on sale, tawag natin. And you can wait. If you can wait, pwede naman. Or if you want, you can buy at that price para at least meron na kayong handle na MegaWide shares. Alright, so that is MegaWide. Other news, SECB inject additional 750 million in leasing financing unit. SECB has infused 751 million in its leasing and finance joint venture with Thailand Bank of Ayudha, Kingskri. As an anticipated pent demand from the consumer finance segment, the bank said that increasing capital of SB Finance would be used to support its business expansion as it heeds the call of Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas for financial inclusion. The amount will be used to fund investment in the company technology, infrastructure to support the end-to-end customer journey and SB Finance's digital transformation. Alright. So, SECB. Dahil yan, siyempre. Ano na kaya tayo rito, SECB? Low chart. Security Bank. SECB. Yan. Yan tayo, SECB. So, at least para makita niyo yung kanyang price action din, no? 117.10 kanyang presyo or ang kanyang price ngayon, pero kung mapansin nyo, nasa taas lahat din, no? So, medyo pa rin siya. Taas pa rin yung kanya, mababa pa rin yung price niya o yung action niya. Pero nag-aano na. Ayan, umakit na yung pinaka MA9 niya. Yan, nagko-cross na siya. Nag-cross na siya dito sa MA20. And then dito sa MA50. Malapit na rin siya. Okay. So, baba pa rin price ng Security Bank. Pinaka-highest price niya is almost 240 since nung October 17. So, October 17. So, makita mong price ng action ng mga shares, di ba? Akit baba lang. Dan dito, pag akit niya ng 267 yan, 112 na lang siya. Kaya dapat naka plot yan eh, no? Na-plot nyo kung nasaan yung price action. So ito nag-112 yung support niya. Tapos umakit naman siya ng 120, umabot ng 120. So yan, kung may mga nagte-trade ng swing trade o kaya ng day trade. Actually, hindi naman day trade yan dahil hindi pa naman ganun kaganda yung action niya. Mga nag-swing trade, panalo ka dyan o kaya gain ka dyan, gain profit ka dyan. No, from siguro mga ilang araw din to. From April to May, almost 1 month na gain profit. Pero nga, potential niya is as high as 144, no? Or kanina naman is mga 200, no? Fair value. Alright, so SECB. Check lang natin yung kanyang ano. Pero sa dividends, no? Actually, na-share ko na rin yan, no? Sa na nagkaroon ako ng banking sector or sa financial sector na mga technical support, technical and fundamental, no? Tinakal ko yun para at least makita nyo kung ano ang mga ano nila TANFA ng mga nasa banking sector. So, SECB, and doon na tayo dumiretso agad sa dividend and rights. So, makita 0.50. No, nagbigay siya ng 0.50 and 1 peso. So, ibig sabihin, 1.50 ang binigay ng Security Bank sa mga shareholder niya. Okay. This year, pinag-usapan natin. Okay. Kaya mababa rin yung price niya. Kaya mapansin yun, every time magbibigay ng dividends, no, after na may bigay, bababa na yung price ng stocks. Ngayon, paano ka mag-participate nun? Actually, pwede ka mag-participate kaya hindi ka mag-long term as long na bago magbigay ng dividends, ando doon ka, no? Meron kang share na hawak-hawak. Kasi pag wala kang shares, hindi ka makakasama doon sa pagbibigyan, no? Kasi normally, nagbibigay mga, yung time na nagbibigyan sila, April, okay, or may 2 beses, no? So, depende. Saka may nakalagay kung anong month, okay? Anong month mo kukuha yung dividend. So, for example, yung kanina, tingnan natin yan, no? Ex-dividend date, and then record date, and then payment date. So, ito yung doon mo makukuha sa portfolio mo yung iyong dividendo. Actually, kung nakapasok ka na, no, sa date na to, for example, meron kang hawak na tapos nakapasok ka na, bago ka mag-payment, pwede mo naman actually mabenta na yan. Kung gusto mo lang, no, kung makit yung presyo, or kaya kinailangan mo siyang i-benta para bumili ng other stocks, okay, pwede naman gawin yun. Hindi naman kailangan na nandoon ka doon sa isang stocks na, diba? Doon ka lang. Pwede ka naman, yung aganda sa negosyong to, no? Marami kang negosyo, marami kang kumpanya na pwedeng bilhin. No? Sabi ko nga, kontrolado mo, no? Kung paano mo gagamitin yung puhunan mo. Mamaya, meron tayong options, no, na pwede kong i-share sa inyo para at least sa mga bago nanonood. Meron silang pagpilian kung gusto nyo lang. Okay? Alright, so active natin stock, SMPH, GTCAP, D2, Pure Gold, TBGI, 7, MEG, CLI, Converge, and BDO, active stock. Gainers, TBGI, GEO, LPC, DELM, OPM, House, SG, PSB, ARA, and BHI. And top losers for today is MGIC, OPM, OV, OPMB, HBN, ACP, and IPXP, and MED, NT. Yan ang ating mga top gainers, losers, and active stocks. Okay. So, dito tayo sa daily notes, diba? Laggard. Sinabi kanina sa Philippines seen as laggard in Asia. Moody's Analytics expect the Philippines to return to pre-pandemic level of economic output only by the end of 2022, making it as a laggard in the region as the country continues to grapple with the COVID-19 outbreak. Moody's expect the Philippine gross domestic product, GDP, to grow by 5.3 this year, slower than the 6.3 estimated gave in March. The country is having difficulty containing new COVID-19 infections, resulting in the the imposition of strict lockdown measures from March 29 to May 14. In contrast, China, Taiwan, South Korea, and Vietnam have returned to previous output level, while Indonesia and Thailand are on track to return this year. Meanwhile, the sluggish pace of country's mass vaccination campaign is hindering recovery prospect amid supply constraints and vaccine hesitancy. Yung ayaw mapabaksin. Katulad ko, ayaw ko mapabaksin. Maraming ganun eh. Wala tayong magagawa, di ba? Choice mo yan. Alright, so that's our daily notes for today. So, tapos na natin yan. And right now, yan, medyo bumagal yung market natin, yung takbo ng market natin. Okay. Tomorrow natin open yung yung sa video security kasi charge ko ba yung phone ko eh. Pakita ko rin sa inyo kung paano paggamit yan sa mga bago. Okay, so yan. Tapos we're going to give you some, ano ba yung nagawa natin? Industrial, nakagawa na tayo ng 10 dito. Alam ko meron na tayong binigay na 10 kung makikinig kayo sa mga una natin video. Okay, and holdings. Bigyan ba tayo rito sa holdings? Ito magbigay. Yan, yung top natin na like for example, AC. How's the price of AC for today? Ala Corporation is 707. Ito mga nasa PSEI index yan. Okay, so right now is 4 peso change, no? Kanyang pwede pa magbago yan depending for today trading. Okay, and then check natin yung kanyang chart, no? And then kung meron na tayong chart ng AC. Ayan, meron tayong chart ng AC. Tingnan natin kung naka-plot na sa kanya. Ayan, meron na rin tayong naka-plot, no? Ito yung mga magandang company actually na naabangan ko lang bumaba yung price talaga nito and then mag-participate dito. Kasi ang laki ng nito, difference, no, from the price, no, yung pinakamataas na price niya. Abot pa ng 100, 1,000 pala, 1,000, 1,500. So that's a fair value pwedeng abutin niya eh. Okay, so meaning if you put your money for 5 to 10 years, potentially, and pwedeng ikitain. Ito ang sinample kong projection, no? Actually, dito projection, nangyari na to dahil during the time of pandemic, ito yung nangyari, nung bumagsak siya, no? From 2019 to knockdown, no? March 20. Okay. So, ito, September 2019 and then ilang months lang nung March bumagsak siya, no? September, October, November, December, 6 months after, no? Tapos nag-pandemic, then so nag-ano siya, almost 53%. Huwag natin, dito natin ilagay para at least silang usap. Ayan. And price niya, 300 plus pa siya, eh. Ito lahat ng tingnan natin yung natin siya na indicator. RSI. And then, wag natin. May paborito akong ginagamit indicator ng stochastic. Saka, hindi muna. Okay, and then combination with stochastic. Stock. Parang RSI na rin yan. Pero maganda rito, dalawa yung niya. Yung moving average niya. Okay, medyo madilim-dilim pero bigyan na lang natin ng color. Color, masyadong madilim. Yung histogram niya, lagyan natin yellow. And tapos etong MACD is green. Kasi red and green naman talaga yan eh. Yan. Tapos ito gawin natin green din to. Masyadong madilim. Madilim ang kanyang paligid. Hindi mo masyadong makita. Yan. So, yung kanyang movement. Ito, tanggalin ko na itong RSI. Sobrang marami na. Yan. Depende yan sa gusto mong gamitin na para at least hindi kayo malilito. Okay, consolidation lang to. Umakit baba lang price niya at the price of 700. Kanyang average price. Okay. But then sabi ko kanina, di ba, ito yung pinaka mababang price ang inabot niya, which is kung 2019 meron kang position and then umabot siya. Ito yung nangyayari sa ibang mga ito yung mga mutual fund, no? Bumili kayo sa mataas na price, siya pagbaba niyan, apektado yung inyong value ng pera niyo, ng investment niyo. So, kaya yun, siguro yung classmate ko kasi, meron akong classmate na meron siyang 1 million na invest niya 5 years ago. Kasi ngayon na mag-mature, so 5 years ago, that was 2018-19. So, after 3 years, eto na, umabot 2019, talaga bumagsak ang price niya. Ang naging, ang naging value niya, naging 60%. No? Ibig sabihin, 40% na lang yung, 40% yung loss niya. Gusto niyang i-withdraw. Sabi ko, wag. Pag i-withdraw mo, totally realized loss na yung 40%, no? So, at least, hindi naman i-withdraw, bumalik, no? Naka-bounce back. Nag-90% na lang, nag-90% yung value. So, 100,000 na lang yung kanyang Pero ngayon, ang maturity niya. So, definitely, kung umabot siya ng 100%, balik lang yung puhunan niya. Kung di naman, bumaba pa. Sabi niya kasi 20% pa yung loss niya. So, that's 800,000 na makukuha niya. Balik. So, yan pa yung kanyang price movement as of the moment. No? So, bumaba lang siya siguro ng another kasi na binabagsak niya. Magandang presyo dito. Best buy. Okay. For me, hindi ko sinabing ayan. Best buy is in this level for me. 594. I don't know kung bababa pa siya ng level na to, no? Nung pandemic. Pero ayun ang pinakamagandang presyo niya, in that price. Kasi tagal na, diba? May 2012 pa ang pinaka-inabot ng ganung price niya. So definitely napaka-mura na nung presyo na nung karoon ng lockdown din sa Pilipinas. And AC, syempre, malaking company. Diba? Tingnan natin yung kanyang dividends na binibigay. Okay, so nagbigay siya ng 0.06 noong March 29. Laki, no? 0.06. Okay. Sandali Alright, so let's move on. Balik tayo sa ating discussion. So malaking company pero maliit na dividend. Siyempre, mga ganyan kasi hindi naman kumita yan, no? Or, hindi, AC pala to. Ba? AC, ASEN ba yan? Ayala Corporation. Tingnan natin ulit. Hindi lang ata tayo ng Ayala. Ito, ASEN yun na Ayan. Ibigay naman sa atin. Ano yun? Okay. So, 6.02 ang bigyan niya ng May 4. and 6.56 noong April and 6.2 noong February and 16 February 18. No, malaki din, no? Malaki din binibigay ng Ayala kasi napakaraming company, maraming group of company. So that is around, magkano yun? 6 pesos. 6.02 plus 6.56 plus 6.02 ulit, 6.02 and 6.56, 6.56. Total of 25 pesos per share. So meron kang around 1,000 shares na lang. Times 1,000 shares, additional income of 25,000. Okay, and yung 1,000 shares, sabi mo, binili mo ng 600. Ano ba ang ano niya, price yan? Price of Ayala is 701. O 700 na lang. Okay, 700 times mo sa 1,000 shares, 700,000. So 700,000 mo, kumita pa ng additional 25,000 for this year. For this year alone, no? So meron pa yan. So kung nagbibigay sila ng quarterly, most probably is madadagdagan pa yung income. Kaya maganda rin kumuha ng mga company na nagbibigay ng dividends, di ba? Mga dividendo. Okay. Rights, wala. Dividend lang, dividend. Okay. Minsan nagbibigay sila ng shares, no? Converting to shares. Pero bihira yun, no? Mostly, puro mga cash yung binibigay and then pupunta na agad yan sa iyong portfolio. Okay. Yan ang maganda sa mga. Kaya ngayon maganda bumili ng mga stocks na nagbibigay ng dividends. Kung alam nyo lang yung mga stocks na yan. So yan, mana yan, nasa ano yan. Sa watch list natin yan. Kaya inaaral natin yan eh. Okay, so ano pa? Okay, nag-green na siya ngayon. No? Makaabot pa siya doon sa hindi siya umakbaba ng gusto. Pero kung baba naman, okay lang din. Okay, proper holdings, di ba? Ayala Corporation, MPI. Hindi, mga malaki yan. Pwede naman. Lopez man na, Lopez. Yan natin, Lopez. 3.30 and 1. Ayan, 1.19 ang change ng Lopez Holdings. Yung mga Lopez, siyempre, although may naging ano din sila eh. Yan, nagkaroon sila ng challenges last year. Okay. LPC. Tingnan natin kung meron tayong copy ng LPC. I-save muna natin to and then LPZ. Lopez, LPC. So, wala pa yung Lopez. So, check natin. Yeah. Ang LPC. LPZ. Holdings Corporation. Okay, so ito yung kanyang price action. Lagyan natin, i-plot natin, no? Pero laki, no? Laki ng naging epektuhan sila kasi doon sa ano eh, sa ABS-CBN nila eh. Noong November, daming, pero dito nag-gap up siya, laki na ng ginap up niya. From 3 pesos to 380 during that time, no? Gap up ang puro gap up ngayon. Kasi nga pababa na yung presyo niya. Karoon siya ng price correction. Saan siya ngayon? Presyong 3 pesos. Okay. So, plot natin para at least makita natin, no? Marami namang company yan. Kaya nga holdings to, no? Maraming company ang mga Lopez's. So, pinakamababang price nila is around 2 peso. No? Actually, nung March yan, hindi bumaba ng ganun gusto. No? April na lang bumaba. No? Tapos nung karoon sila ng nang hindi na sila nabigyan ng prangkisa. Pero dito pa rin, umakyat pa rin to. Dito time na to, 234 to 321. So, yan. Yan yung price na ma-action niya pababa. From here, 370, 381 to 3 pesos. Ito naman yung kanyang potential na ito, resistance. Lagyan natin ng green. Resistance level niya yan. Okay, pwede siya. Okay, umakyat siya dyan. Tapos consolidation and then bumaba na afterwards. Okay, so yun yung kanyang pwedeng potential puntahan ng Lopez LPZ. LPZ. Dito pala natin siya. No? Iyawan natin siya ng name. LPZ. And then save. So naka-save na yan yung kanyang chart na yan, no, ng Lopez. Okay, check na yung kanyang fundamental LPC. Siyempre, ang mga Lopez is handled by Eugenio Lopez. Manuel Lopez na. Yan o, vice chairman na lang si Eugenio Lopez. Di ba nagkaroon siya ng problem eh. So, check natin kung nagbibigay pa sila ng dividend. Nagbigay naman 10 cents noong October 13 last year. Diba? Kaya kung meron kang Lopez LPC, matitignan nyo, no, ng mga company kung worth it ba ng pag nag-long term kayo. Actually, dito, wala na silang dividend. Wala pa ring price action. No? Bumaba pa nga yung presyo eh. Ditong babas yan, itong May. And so, alam nyo na. Now you know. Okay, another holding. So, last na to, no? For our holding. ACMP, ILPC, GTCAP, JGS na lang to. JG Summit. Right now, ang change is 0.20. Okay. Ano ba tayong JGC? Ba't nawala yung ano dito? Yun. LPC yan. Tapos, load chart. JGC. Yan. Tama, JGS bala. JGS. JG Summit. Yan. Meron tayong plotting na sa JG Summit. Right now, nasa 49.30 pesos siya. Okay. So, lowest price niya is around 40. Actually, umabot pa siya ng during pandemic or lockdown ng 40.41 or 25 pesos. No? Pinantaas yun, 27 to, ito, siguro ganun to. Floor price na siya during this time. Kasi one day lang to. Floor price. And it was, trade in March 20 last year. Alright. So, ngayon, nandito pa rin siya sa 49 or mga 50 pesos level. So, kanyang, ayun ang kanyang average price. Siya mo average price, ayun yung mga laging pinupuntahan niya na presyo. So, kung bababa pa siya, as in, pwede siyang bumaba until mga 46 level. Okay. Or ito yung pinakababang price niya. Now, pwede kang mag-plot na rin ng kanyang resistance level. Ito, medyo mataas na to, 74 pesos na to. Pero potential na abutin yan, dahil yung inabot na price niya. Or, gusto mo na medyo mababa, hanggang dito lang muna. Meaning from 49 to 67 or 70 range niya. Okay. And then yung kanyang RSI and MACD. Yan. Check for save. Now, tingnan natin yung kanyang JGS. How much yung kanyang binigay na? Sino yung director siya ngayon? Hans na tate. James. Si Hans pala, no? Lance pala. Okay, si Lance Gokongwei. Dividend and right. Okay, 0.38. Ayan, ang sinasabi ko. 5% stocks ang binigay naman nila. Okay, so kung magkano yung iyong available, 5% na nabibigay sa'yo. Okay, yun ha. The stocks yung nakuha mo. Alright, now, let's move on sa ano to. Dahil na tayo, nakalima na tayo dito eh. Okay, yan. So, update na lang natin ulit. Bumalik na naman, mag-red na naman yan later on. Okay, sa ating PSE out of 30 companies na naririto, meron tayong 12, no? 12 out of 30. Top 3, Tel, Ali, and AC. And then, overall natin, out of 276, we have 72, no? Top natin is TBGI, DLM, and House. Financial sector, no? Right now we have ito, 4 out of 9. BDO, BPI, and PNB. Industrial, we have out of 28, 8. Mercury, Meralco, MWC, and Pcor. Ang Mercury, wala pa pala sa list ng ano. No? Anyway. And then, mayaman na may-ari. Okay, financial, industrial, holding. Yan kanina, no? Out of 15, we have 8 AC, MPI, and LPC or Lopez. Okay, property. Yan, out of 13, we have Ali, RLC, and Meg. Ito yung Meg, no? Hindi umalis yung pwesto niya, no? Nakakatawa lang din sa Meg, marami itong property na ano ngayon, na ongoing. And mostly sa mga, ano, sa Visayas and Mindanao. Okay, Meg is owned by Andrew Tan. Okay? Yung mga kilala kay Andrew Tan, yung kanyang McDonald franchise is sa Pilipinas plus yung kanyang Emperador. Okay? Actually, yan yung ano, ayan, pinakamalaking ano ngayon, taniman sa brewery dyan sa Spain. Kasi nabili na yung Fundador. If you're familiar sa Fundador. Na sikat yan. No? Dati. Until lang naman, no? Parang counterpart niya di sa Pilipinas is Emperador. MP, kung tawagin natin. And, yun, nabili na ni Andrew Tan, no? Mas lalong sumikat. Yung Emperador, meron yung mga Emperador, hotel dyan sa, sa airport. Kita niyo dyan. Tapos marami siyang mga property dyan. Marami din siyang mga, sa Eastwood. Yan. Tapos yung mga ibang mga projects ngayon, no, ng Mega World. So, kung gusto nyo check yan, lalo na yung Condotel, you can ask me about that, no? Kasi may mga kilala tayo na nag-handle ng Condotel. If you're OFW na gustong invest sa Pilipinas, okay, it's the right time to invest. Ganda yung mga project natin, no? Kung nasa provinces man kayo or kahit sa Manila may mga project tayo dyan. Okay, Mega World o Meg. Check natin yung Meg, no? Tingnan natin yung binibigyan ng Meg. Ang kanyang binibigay na tingnan natin arat siya ba na idea lang. Directors and Management, Andrew Tan. Okay. And then dividend and right, okay, giving 0.037. So December 15. Okay, kasi ang hard hit, no, na sector last year is property. So hindi sila masyadong move. Pero right now ito na paunti-unti na. Okay, kaya yung mga mag-invest diyan, gusto mag-invest, either na bumili kayo ng stocks o kaya invest nyo sa Condotel, no, mga projects na ginagawa ng Mega World. Alright, so last but not the least is hindi pa pala, services pa tayo, no? We have services. Out of 24, top 3, Tel, Wilcon, and RRHI. Okay, and mining and oil, Mining and oil, 9 out of 9. 3, PXLC and SCC. Okay, that's it for today sa ating update, no? Live update sa ating stock market using our fundamental and technical analysis. Okay, now let's move on sa last nating topic, yung interview, no? Interview with Miss Mimi ng ANC. Okay? So this latest interview niya. Okay, check it out.
Joining us now for his take on the markets, Edmund Lee of KLM Trading Institute. Hi, Edmund. Great to see you.
Hi, Mimi. How's everything?
Great, great. So, but the market, though, maybe not so great. The market was down about 1% last week, below 6,200, although we're back at that level. Do you think that we're building base at this point or not yet?
I think previously when I was here, we've been taking a cautious stance overall in the market. With recent activity, especially with the huge rotation from growth into value stocks, especially in the US, we're actually more positive now than we were before. So we actually like this drop. And for people coming in from a medium-term perspective, I think the risk-reward is definitely in play. And I think the risk-reward is definitely fantastic at these levels.
Okay.
Just to give you a perspective, one of the things that was on our mind was that the markets in the US were overbought. But we've seen a huge correction in high growth and technology companies. We've seen a huge correction in terms of SPAC. And now recently we saw a huge correction in the cryptocurrency markets. So we think overall this should bode well for value. And we think as the vaccine rollout starts to come aboard, especially the Philippines, we think the value companies, for example, like especially the Philippines, should start to rally.
So am I getting it right? You know, with all that's happening, despite first quarter bigger contraction there, downgraded full year growth, earnings that are, you know, less than fantastic, COVID cases remaining elevated here in the Philippines, that you're keeping a bullish case on the market?
Let's be honest, if all the news that was coming out was positive, you wouldn't see the markets today at 6,200. And I think it makes sense, the reason why the market's weak, right? But as we've seen outside, especially as countries start to roll out their vaccination program, most cases you saw a V-shaped recovery. You look at China, travel demand has already surpassed its last year. You look at US, people are starting to go back to normal.
All right. Yan, ang galing, no? Lagi silang may ano na. Okay, so before that, no, si Edmund Lee is the president of KLM Trading and Institute. Bata pa, alam nyo bang KLM? KLM is a ano yan, tawag ito, yung parang University of Trading, no? Yun ang tawag na diyan, no? No, makita yan sa online, no? Pwede kayong mag-apply for online, no, para matutunan niyo yung tinuturo ko sa inyo, i-share ko sa inyo fundamental, technical, how to trade, how to open market. So mga yan, tuturo din yan sa KLM. No, kung meron kang 150,000 na pang-enroll, parang parang school of trading. No, you can apply for program, no, sa KLM. Check lang KLM. And then marami ng mga information. So ayan, siya yung presidente, batang-bata pa. Aside from that kasi, no, may mga formal education ang tawag diyan na hindi katulad nito na direct to the point, di ba? Or kung magwa-one-on-one ka, mentoring or coaching, so ayun naman tawag doon. Para at least mabilis lang. Saka siyempre, mas makakamura. Instead of paying 150,000, you just paying for magkano lang yung bibigay na fee ng mga nag-offer, no? So, depende yan sa inyo kung magkano yung kaya nyo, capacity nyo to enroll, no? As your tuition fee para matuto sa trading. Okay, let's move on. No? Maganda yung sinabi niya, no? Kahit na sabihin natin na yung market natin is down, bullish pa rin yung tingin niya. No? Kasi ito lang naman, pagka bagsak ng presyo at bumaba yan hanggang magdulo, isa pa pupunta yan. It will go up na. Diba? That's bullish. Okay.
And we'll probably see the same case as we get things back to normal. I think what's important is that we get that vaccination rollout program rolled out properly and as efficient as possible. and hopefully the seniors and even the young ones and young kids can start to go out. And
including us,
obviously
just kidding. Okay, but what's the timeline though? How long do we have to wait? How long is this market pricing in for that normalization to happen?
I think in the next quarter, we should probably be more positive. I mean, you should look at that as something very positive. If you look at first quarter earnings, even power demand has been back to normal. Aboitiz Power has already announced that things are already back to normal to 2019 levels. In terms of consumer demand, although we got a hit from pure gold and some of the other items because of a high base coming from the Ayuda last year, CNPF, DNL all posted strong first quarter earnings. And I think a lot of businesses have already adjusted to whatever happened today. So as things start to normalize, you'll probably see better second half profits for most companies across the board.
Okay, Edmund, I just wanted to go over very quickly the digest for corporate stories. This morning, a stockbroker in the BW stock price manipulation scandal many years ago has been found guilty, and he's getting 14 years of jail time. That was a decision by the Pasig City Regional Trial Court that found Johnny S. Yap of Solar Securities guilty of violating several provisions. The case of PW was, as resources, as many probably remember, is one that led to the ouster of former President Joseph E. Estrada, who was removed from office via a revolt. The issue also racked the entire PSC. So that's one, at least there's some closure on that big news before. How about this? Here's an interesting one from Jollibee, maybe a happy one even. Jollibee opens its flagship.
Care is
Right. Tonto siya, no? Jollibee daw eh. Anyway, yung mga sinabi niya, actually, yung mga mag-case noon sa PSE. And close na naman actually. Ano? Pero yung nagiging problem kasi pagka hindi nami-mishandle yung mga broker. Okay? So, yun. Yun lang. Tignan natin.
In the West End, in the UK, and they're on track to open 6 more in the UK before the year is out. What do you make of this? I mean, we saw Jollibee's earnings, not exactly the best, but when you hear companies still expanding, gung-ho about expanding, what does this tell us?
Obviously, what you're seeing today is how other countries are already going back to normal. And that's why they probably see consumer demand, especially in those areas, start to come back. So obviously you want to be spending capex in places where business has already recovered and things are already going north, right? So hopefully things happen the same way in the Philippines, and you'll probably see most of these restaurants and consumer companies start to build capex again.
But Edmund, when you look at Jollibee in particular, do you think it's reached saturation point here in the Philippines, that there's really very little room to grow, that they really have to look out already? Because, you know, this opening in the West End is actually part of the brand's bigger push to open 50 stores in the next 5 years in Europe. The vision, of course, of Jollibee is to be among the top 5 restaurant companies in the world. It's looking globally. Do you think this tells us something about how they feel about the local market?
I mean, you look at the Philippines, we're at 3,000 GDP per capita. And we haven't even reached the Maslow's law of hierarchy in terms of $5,000 per GDP, where consumer demand actually picks up in other categories, right? And then you'll probably have higher spending in other more expensive restaurants and whatsoever. We're not even there yet, Mimi. So we believe we have a long way to go. And obviously them getting different brands is definitely a great strategy on their end. And they've already proven that in terms of execution, Jollibee comes second to none.
Okay, interesting. Another interesting story here. Land Bank, state-owned land bank, loans to MSMEs hitting 20 billion pesos a year after it launched this special rehab fund.
Yan. Ay, good news ha. Marami ng tawag dito, matutuwang Pilipino, no, na nasa ibang bansa kasi nag-expand na yung Jollibee, you know. 5 na yung kanilang branches out of sa UK, no, dami ng ayan, marami pang bubuksan na Jollibee branches sa ibang bansa, which is a good move for Jollibee kasi nga dito masyadong marami na rin. And sabi nga ni ni Jason Jason Lee, hindi pa tayo hindi pa natin nakukuha yung parang nagsisimula pa lang tayo. Totoo yun, no? Yung in terms of GDP natin, masyado mababa pa. And then, yung consumer, natin, power natin is wala pa, magsisimula pa lang ulit dahil 'di ba nag-close lahat yung mga stores, 'di ba? Hard hit din 'yan yung Jollibee company, yung mga branches namin. Mga nag-close na nga rin ng mga franchise diyan. And then ang good news, yung ibang mga franchise actually kinuha na rin nila, no? Inabsorb na rin nila. Kasi sayang naman kung maganda yung position, 'di ba? Maganda yung pwesto. So right now, they're moving internationally. So branding kasi ang tawag doon. Okay? So, okay.
Pandemic, there were said to be 434 borrowers who took advantage of this program. They're getting a 5% per annum rate for 3 years, repriceable after that, payable within 10 years with a grace period of 2. Loans. Are you expecting, in general for banks, a strong loans growth this year? Finally.
Well, if first quarter was any indication, we're not there yet. Obviously, as most companies are cutting back in terms of spending, and why borrow at this time? The property actually and the banks in the first quarter were actually hit the most when we've seen everything across the board. But hopefully, like what I said a while ago, consumer demand has to pick up first. And when consumer demand starts to pick up, then we'll start to see business start to expand, start to build capex, start to borrow, and most likely you'll have a spillover towards the property market as well. So until the consumer demand picks up, most likely the others too won't.
Okay, how about this one? Megawide is set to increase authorized capital stock to 5.1 billion pesos. And here's an interesting one. Mondanisin, a Lucky Me noodle manufacturer, offer period actually already started. They're going to last until May 25th. That's tomorrow. The allotment cap for retail investors was raised to 1 million pesos. I understand that's about 10 times the usual size, which allows retailers to get more, to gobble up more shares. What do you make of this? And the fact that, this attracted 11 cornerstone investors?
Well, if you look at Mondanisin, it's a really, really large, it's the largest we've ever had at 48 billion. They're priced at 25 times PE. When you look at the core business, everything is growing in all business segments. And obviously, even during the pandemic, they've been able to make that shift. Consumer on their end from Lucky.
Sunod yung kanilang mga ads. Marami nanonood kasi ngayon dito sa...
The best brands that we've had in the Philippines and probably the most famous. You look at it from a different point of view. They're also participating in the meat alternative. And I think that's the jackpot that investors in most of the cornerstones are playing. You look at the meat alternative market, Chairman, President and CEO already talked about how it's going to grow 10 times in the next 10 years. They're put in a position where they're poised to be in this huge growth. They've already said that they're number one in UK. So hopefully things spill over in the US. I think that's a key market about what they're going to do because it's a very competitive market. And hopefully that they'll gain that traction in the US because most likely if you can dominate the US, everything will spill over from there.
Okay.
But nonetheless, they still have to prove that.
And so far, how's the uptake been? Strong?
Yeah, it's actually been doing well. I think 25 times is pretty fair for a domestic company in this consumer space with almost 10, 15 billion in cash flow in the next coming years. They're in that CapEx cycle, so they'll probably be spending in the next few years to expand on that meat alternative business. So we're pretty excited for Mondanisin. I think we haven't, relatively few IPOs this year. So this should be very good for the entire market.
At 25 times price to earnings, I imagine URC would be in the same category. How does the PE compare?
Yeah, similar to that level.
Okay, just thereabouts. Foreign news now. In the middle of the COVID-19 economic fallout, 9 billionaires were actually minted thanks to the vaccines. The 9, their combined wealth now estimated at $19.3 billion. Moderna CEO Stefan Bancel and BioNTech CEO Ugur Sahin topped the list. They're now worth around $4 billion each thanks to their company's share prices soaring. Just to context, Moderna shares up over 700% since February last year. BioNTech shares up 600% and CanSino up 440%. Senior executives from China's CanSino Biologics and early investors in Moderna have also become billionaires on paper. Edmund, we don't have this kind of medical drug vaccine empire are in Manila? Are we missing out? I mean, well, we do have pharma drug companies, but a lot of them prefer to stay private.
I don't think this comes as a surprise. I mean, you're looking at it from a pharmaceutical standpoint. You'll probably look at it also from a technology standpoint. Most of the billionaires, top 10, you look at Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, all of them probably had share prices rise 10 times last year just because of the COVID pandemic. So you're seeing this wealth gap. I mean, we talked about inequality in 2019, 2020 probably doubled or tripled that wealth inequality gap. I think that's the reason why you're also seeing higher estate tax, higher movements for taxing the rich. And well, it's very difficult to see, I mean, if you ask me today, what's right, what's wrong, but these are nothing new. We've seen this happen in the Great Depression. It's the same case where you've seen huge wealth inequality happen in 1920s, 1930s. The following year, we had this huge movement to tax the rich. So I don't think this comes as a surprise.
Are we in the wrong industries?
Easier said than done, Mimi. I mean, technology takes time.
Because
it's easy.
Yeah, well, because if you look at our billionaires, they're in consumer, they're in retail, not exactly in tech.
Exactly, because the money is still for us. I mean, we're still a really, really young and young GDP demographic in altogether. I mean, like what I said a while ago, 3,000 GDP per capita is still very small. And even on the basic goods, in terms of consumer staples, most.
All right. So imagine nine billionaire US pharma new billionaire yan. Dahil because of COVID. Sabi nga ni Mimi sa atin ba walang ganon? Wala tayong ganong technology kaya wala tayong pwedeng ilaban doon. But then sabi nga we're still starting, we're still young. May discovery pa rin yan na mangyayari once na matatalino mo at magagaling mga Pilipino. So, I hope na magkaroon tayo ng ganong discovery in terms of technology and medicine or pharma.
In that segment. So the reason why technology has, we don't see a lot of tech companies here listing in the Philippines, obviously it's because we don't have that traction yet and people spending power on that category yet. We're still in that consumer staple side, Mimi. So we still have a long way to go.
Okay, we've come to the most exciting part of this conversation. Edmund, the blind item. Talk to us about the stock that you're monitoring closely. Don't tell us, just describe. We're going to leave it to our investor viewers to guess what this is. So what do you have for us this morning?
Well, there's actually a company that I really like. Most of the selling today, if you look at the stock price today, it's actually close to its March 2020 lows of the pandemic. This company generates 35 to 40 billion in terms of EBITDA. Huge cash flow. They probably give 5% cash dividend next year. Most of the business was hit last year because electricity demand got hit because of the shutdown of lockdown. Nonetheless, we're still very excited. I think we've seen the worst in 2020. Western prices have already recovered. And the reason why I think this company is also being battered is because the shift of institution to renewable energy, and that's why non-renewables have lagged this entire time. Nonetheless, I think this selling is overdone. And hopefully this selling coming from MSCI, irrational selling would probably be finished this Friday. So I think there's a chance to buy in this company.
Okay, and what sort of upside are you seeing for this stock?
Oh, we're probably looking at 30 to 35 pesos per share.
Okay, on that note, we're just going to have to guess which stock this is. Edmund, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for joining us and have a great week ahead.
Thanks, Mimi. Have a good day.
Have a good.
All right. Yan na tayo sa interview ni Mimi from ANC. Yung mga information na nakikita natin dyan. Yan yung president ng KLUM sa Pilipinas. It's a trading institute. More on training about stock market, siyempre, in a Philippine setting. Kaya nga, kung kayo mag-start, mag-invest o mag-trade, sa Pilipinas muna, huwag agad ba aakyat ng level. Dito pa nga lang, mahirapan na kayo mag-start. Eh. What more pa sa diba, international, pinag-usapan ng dollar na. Alright, so okay, yung last portion natin. Ano ba yung last portion natin? Ito yung ating sinabi ko kanina, no? Sa mga interested mag-trade or nag-decide na, or give you some information about, I give you 3 options that you can choose from, no? Number 1, learn to trade, and learn to trade. Yan. It will take you 1 to 3 years to learn stock market trading. No? And kung nasimulan nyo last year, 2 taon na lang, di ba? Mabilis na yan, matututunan nyo na. Ang importante lang is makapag-participate ka na, yung makapag-open ka ng account. Mahirap naman puro ka nood ng mga sa YouTube o kaya basa ng libro o kaya mga ganito information, pero hindi ka naman nag-open ng broker account o kaya pang platform. So start na rin, no, mag-open. You can choose from a lot of broker, no, and then hindi naman ganun kalaki yan ang investment. 1,000 pesos pwede ka lang sa COL. Ano naman mapupunta 1,000 pesos mo, actually isang kainan lang yan, diba, ng family mo o pang date lang yan. Actually iba nga, ano lang yan sa Shopee. Sabihin ko sa iyo, isang order lang o 2 order lang sa Shopee, ubos yung 1,000 pesos. Minsan nga may mga order pa na 'di ba? Hindi legit, scam pa. Ako may order na ako 1,000. Hinahabol ko nga kahit sabi mo 1,000, malaking bagay yan, 'di ba? So, may nabili ako na very defective. Hinahabol ko talaga sila, sabi ko papaano ko sila sa DTI. Natatakot naman yung mamasagot naman. Sabi ko deposit yung binayad ko or else diretso ako sa DTI kasi nagbigay sila ng information eh. Anyway, di ba maliit na yun, pwede mong gamitin yun na puhunan, no, to start your investment. And you have to learn the fundamental technical analysis. Kung gusto mo lang, mag-apply ka dyan sa Kailum Trading Institute, no? And that's 150,000 worth of tuition fee. Merong yan, para ka nag-aaral din talaga, no? Parang sa school, no, na magbabayad ka, tuition fee, and then may magtuturo sa iyo. I don't know lang, hindi ko pa kasi alam dahil naman ako nakapag-apply diyan kung parang classroom, no, type ang kanilang pagtuturo. Yung maramihan. Kasi pag ganun maramihan, mahirap din maintindihan no. Mas maganda yung one-on-one or yung coaching style dating. Okay? So, yun ang tuturo din. Actually, yung tuturo nila, katulad ng shinare ko sa inyo, fundamental and technical analysis. Depende lang din kasi sa mga nag-aaral yan kung paano nila i-take yung kanilang pinag-aaralan di ba? Yung talaga interesado, madaling matuto. Nga lang, medyo matagal lang. No? 3 years, sabi ko nga, mabilis lang nga lang actually. At the same time nga, habang nag-aaral ka, natututo ka, at kumikita ka, di ba? Earn while you learn. Okay. And if you lose at the beginning of trading, it's your tuition fee in learning. Hindi naman yan marunong ka na, magaling ka na agad, di ba? May mga pa rin yan. Learning process pa rin yan. Pagka nag-loss ka o nag-winning ka, kailan i-journal mo yan para makita mo yung tinatawag nating average price niya. O average mo, no, on trading. So, actually, you need to get a mentor or coach to guide you to shorten your learning curve and the cost of learning. As your tuition fee will be minimal. Di ba pa rin yung meron nagko-coach, di ba? Or nagme-mentor sa'yo para at least, di ba, madaling, yung 1 to 3 years na yan, baka 1 year lang kung mabilis ka talaga. Ako, 1 year lang ako dahil interesado talaga ako sa ginagawa ko Sabi ko nga sa inyo, 27 years ago, no? Naging naging FOMO ko yan Kaya ngayon, nung may have the time, no? And kahit hindi nga ganun kalaki yung inyong investment o yung puhunan, you can start. Ang mahalaga yung gusto mo siya talagang gawin. Okay? And then, syempre, mababawasan din yung losing trade mo. Pag meron kang mentor coach. Kasi matutunan mo yung mga tinatawag nating technique. No? How to buy or sell or to take profit. Yung cut loss. No? How to exit, entry. Mga ganun ba? Mga importante. Hindi yung pag nag-join ka, bili ka na lang. Maraming ganun, di ba? Yung mga na-enjoy, lang sila, na curious lang o kaya may nagsabi lang sa kanila na magandang mag-invest sa stock market. Okay? Now, kung ayaw nyo naman talaga, napapagod na kayo dahil siyempre, maraming ding work or business na ginagawa, pero gusto nyo mag-participate ng investment, you go to investment in mutual fund or get insurance policy. You don't have time to learn or watch videos about stock market. No? You don't want to sit in front of a computer all the time watching stock market. Okay. Hindi naman kailangan actually, no, Sabi nila, naku, maghapon ka nakaupo dyan. Di naman, bakit? Pwede kang tumayo. Okay. Actually, sa pag-trade naman, hindi naman maghapon din. No? Kasi hanggang 1 o'clock lang close na yung market natin. Oh, diba? Ibig sabihin, meron time yan. No? And kung nag-aaral ka pa lang, syempre, yun yung time na kailangan pag-aralan mo, umupo ka sa computer para makita mo siya. Okay, o matutunan mo siya. Pero kung ayaw mo nga, just invest in mutual fund. There's a fund manager that will handle funds or financial advisor na mag-ano sa'yo, mag-assist sa'yo. Diba? For the insurance policy naman. It's a low risk investment, so you will definitely get low return. Number 3 naman, invest in a retail stock market trader. Yan, yung mga gusto mong, kilala mo pala na trusted mo, na stock market trader. Katulad namin, mga retail trader ang tawag doon. Marami yan. Maliliit lang ang puhunan, hindi ganung milyon-milyon, bilyon-bilyon, pero nagte-trade, alam ko pa anong ginagawa ng mga hedge fund. Same lang din naman di ba? Yun, you can help them and they can help you. No? Diba? By, ano lang yan, palitan lang yan. Mas malaki lang yung pwede mong potential income na makuha kaysa naman earning from mutual fund, no, diba, mas malaki yung potential income makukuha mo pag sa retail traders. Ano ka. Kaya lang, make sure na trusted or kilala mo talaga siya. Alright? Alright. And in this time, a lot of things happen and people who started traditional business last year, open in March and closed in the same month due to lockdown and pandemic. No, maraming malalakas ang loob, lalo may mga puhunan. Gusto magad mag-open ng business sila. Pero I tell you, pakahirap mag-open ng business today. Hindi mo alam kung anong mangyayari. We don't know what will happen next after ng pandemic. But, okay lang din magtayo ng business pero make sure na nakaayon doon sa pangangailangan yun, di ba? So, yung mga business na medyo malayo na hindi naman, di ba? Tingin mo, hindi feasible, wag mo na ituloy. Kasi masayang ng pera mo, maubos lang yan. Magdadagdag ka lang magdadagdag. Okay? For me, if you want to open a business, should be something that we can control. No, paano sabi nga? Kasi stock market trading investment is something that we can control if you know what you're doing. Pwede ka mag-buy, pwede ka mag-sell, pwede ka mamili ng mga kumpanya, napakarami mong kumpanya, no, pag-aari. Walang problema, ang mahalaga lang, mag-invest ka lang. Okay? Just find out the right company. Okay? And then, pwede mong ibenta rin. No? If you earn, ibenta mo na. Okay? Pagka makita mo na nalulugi ka na, you can cut loss, pwede ka magbenta, at least hindi maubos yung puhunan mo. Ganun lang, no? Sabi ko, you can control it, no? If you know what you're doing. So, learn, invest wisely. Alright, we're done right now sa ating update and i-promote ko lang aking mga page. Ito pong page natin, Trading Risk Management. Like lang po or share na rin, no, sa mga lala nyo na mga interest sa stock market. Okay, and ito, more on updates sa Philippine stock market. Mag-start muna tayo sa Philippine setting para at least mas matutunan natin ito and then we can adapt or we can level up, no, internationally o kaya sa iba pang trading, no. And RCRB trading, ito naman yung aking another page, no, it's more on international trading. I'm using eToro and Interactive Broker for this trading, no? And then CCL, cryptocurrencies learning, and more about cryptocurrency. Have to learn first, no, kasi napakagandang investment kayo to. Lalo ngayon, no, bumabalik na naman yung presyo na bounce back na sa last week. Ang bilis nga ng bounce back niya actually, no. So, pag hindi mo natutunan to, napaka-volatile at delikado, risky masyado, lalo sa mga bago. Okay? So, yun. And then, invite ko rin kayo, no, sa aking mga social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, Reddit, YouTube account. Pwede nyo subaybayan o siya follow. Okay, actually to simultaneous to sa aking Twitter and YouTube account, no? Itong aking ginagawang live. So, yun lang. With that, just keep on learning, no? And for you to become bigger, faster you. This is Ronnie Cayosa. See you on my next video. Bye-bye.